Hey sewing fam, I'm Mari, and today I'm going to be sharing with you all of the details about the jumpsuit that I just made for myself, along with a little matching sweatshirt that I made for my son, because, well, who doesn't love a good twinning moment? I'm going to share these details with you review style, so that way you know what to look out for if you're going to be making these patterns. Not only that, but I'm going to share some of the things that I do while sewing to make my life a little bit easier in case it's something that you might want to incorporate into your sewing. And of course, because this is a Friday Sews video, you're also going to get an update about the Project Dress a Girl dresses that are going to be moving out of my house, as well as a little bit about life. So thank you, Jen. With all of that being said, I think let's just go ahead and start off with the fabric that I used for both of these makes. Now this fabric came from my stash, which I'm really trying to sew from because that just needs to get down to a manageable level. But I can tell you that I bought this fabric about 3 years ago from Fabric Mart online during one of their sales. I typically wait until they're running like a 60 or more percent off sale, and then I'll go in and I'll buy some really fun knits. So that's how I got this one at $3.50. And I loved it so much that I bought 5 yards of it, which ended up being pretty good for both a jumpsuit and a matching little sweater for my kid. This is a jacquard double knit. So if you look closely, you can tell that there is some really fun texture on this knit here. I just love a good bumpy knit. I mean, these textured knits get me every time. And then let me just flip it over to the other side. So this is what the wrong side of the fabric looks like. Now this fabric does have some decent two-way stretch. So it's about a 50% stretch going this way, horizontally, but it doesn't have any stretch going vertically. So when you're dealing with fabric that only stretches in the one direction, you have to be careful that you're using that stretch so that it goes across your body and it's not going this way, because you'll end up with some pretty weird fitting garments. Trust me on that. When it comes to knit fabrics, I actually prefer to sew as much of them as I can on my serger, and I'll move to my sewing machine for things like buttonholes, hems, reinforced crotches, things like that. But really, my preferred method is just to do the majority of my seams on my serger because it's a really nice, good, stretchy stitch, and it is pretty secure. Not only that, it's so much faster than having to sew the seams on your sewing machine and then finish the edges because it's all done just in one pass. Now, if you know me, you know I've got a lot going on. So when I can save some time, it's a big deal to me. I've got a lot of jobs, you all. So yeah, when I can throw a garment together on my serger, I jump for the chance. So let's dive into the pattern review of this sweater, which is Simplicity 8997. This sweater came together pretty quickly, and it was actually a really fun sew. So I hopped over to Instagram and I took a look to see what other people have made and kind of get some inspiration. And honestly, there weren't that many makes on there, and Instagram tends to be my go-to to see what other people have done. But there were these two really cute versions. So I thought, okay, let me just kind of jump into this one. So looking at the actual pattern, I made view A here. Now view A has that turtleneck that you actually flip down. Let me show you. So it has this big turtleneck, and there are buttonholes on the inside where your drawstring comes out of. But when you flip it down, those drawstrings are on the right side of the sweater. You see, and so I really love this neckline, and I think it looks really cute on my son. It kind of fits his neck really well. And you know, little kids tend to have big noggins, and so this did go over his noggin pretty easily. There are kangaroo pockets, and then down here, this is the actual interesting bit. They have you sew up the entire garment, and then you attach the band right onto the very bottom of the sweater. After you attach that band, you fold it underneath like that, and then you sew right on over the edge. So you secure it down on this side, but you've created that fold here on this side that hangs over that band. And I just thought that was a really fun detail. And you know, it's funny because I'm looking at these kangaroo pockets now. They're actually pretty perfectly shaped for my kid and he loves them. But I didn't realize that he's never actually had a top that has had kangaroo pockets before. Let me tell you, the moment that he put his little hands into these pockets, he was like,
Oh, my fingers touch.
and I was like, yeah, buddy, they're supposed to touch. He's like,
I like it.
and so that was a really fun moment. The not so fun moment with this sweater was when, right after I put this on him, he proceeded to pull the drawstring out of the hole. You all, I about lost my mind. I felt like I was just watching it in slow mo. Like he was like, what's this, mommy? Like, you kid. Well, I ended up putting it back in. I hate to be on the struggle bus when it comes to actually putting drawstrings into anything. So I use this. This actually came in a kit with some drawstrings that I purchased on Amazon. So I'll try to find it or something similar and link it down in the description box for you. And anything that I'm talking about, you can find down in the description box. So the way this works is you actually attach the end of your drawstring into one of these holes here, like that. And that's pretty secure in there. Then you slip this side into the hole and you run it all the way through. And when it comes out the other end, you just pull it out and it brings that drawstring with it. So then all you have to do is detach it from this part. It saves me so much time. I used to try to do that with a safety pin, and you all, I mean, this little thingamabob is a lifesaver. You need one if you don't have one and you deal with drawstrings. To fix that little drawstring problem, I'm actually going to tack the drawstring down on the back right here so that way he can't ever pull that out again. I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna fix that problem forever. Now let's talk about the jumpsuit that I made for myself using McCall's 7296. You all, this is the second version of this pattern that I've made, and I really love both the versions. This pattern is a really big winner in my view. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Are you looking for a cure to your boredom?
Yeah.
Maybe you want to learn a new hobby without investing in all of the expensive tools.
Yes.
Or do you want to show your friends all the amazing things that you can make out of leather and get your bragging rights on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let me help you with that spark of creativity so that you can make your own amazing leather pin cushions. You can do either the voodoo doll or the Pac-Man ghost in any color that you want, or all of the colors. It's up to you. Get them while they're hot at Inspired Leather.
I had been wearing my older jumpsuit version quite a bit actually, like it's going out of style. And it was really like wearing pajamas outside, like a big old onesie out in public. So when V at 85th and Wade here on YouTube launched her challenge of making a jumpsuit and posting it on the 26th of this month, I thought, yeah, that's really something that I could get behind, and actually something that I know I'd wear tons of. Plus, it gives me the opportunity to make a jumpsuit that doesn't flash people. Always a plus. So let me show you what my jumpsuit looks like. So I ended up making version D, which is this one right here. It has the buttons down the front, the drawstring at the waist with a casing. It's not elasticated, it is a drawstring. And I left the legs regular. I didn't put the elastic at the bottom like I did my last pair, just because I wanted something that was just a little different to provide me different wearing options. Now, I feel that this pattern does have a significant amount of ease, like most big four do. And I think they're starting to get away from that a bit, but it definitely holds true with this pattern right here. My bust is 44 inches, my waist is 35, and my hips are 51. Now, I know that my shoulders are narrow. I have narrow shoulders and a narrow back. And so I decided to go with the size 16, just that I don't have to fuss with making any changes to the arm side and all of that stuff. And then I made a full bust adjustment. I'll admit, my cheater full bust adjustment probably, well, it definitely wasn't big enough. So the next time that I make this, I will definitely make a bigger full bust adjustment. But it was enough to give me the extra space, so that way there's not all that extra strain on my buttons here, and they don't bust open and show the world what I've got. So I started at the size 16. I made a boob bubble for my full bust adjustment, and then I graded my waist out to the size 22, so that way it could meet up with my pants, and my pants are just a straight size 22. So that way everything kind of matched up nicely. I didn't have to worry about making any adjustments to my bottom. I did add some extra length onto the sleeves of my top here. I added 1.5 inches onto the top, and actually this is right where I like my sleeves to land. So if you have long arms or maybe even average, but you don't like your sleeves to land about right there, make sure that you're taking note of how long they are and you make adjustments accordingly. Now, the way that they actually have you making the drawstring for your waist is really interesting. So it calls for you to make the 2 ties here at the end. And actually, let me see if I can pull it out a bit so you can see. Yeah. And then you attach it to elastic. By attaching the end ties onto that elastic, it helps not only save on fabric, but your sanity, because, well, you don't have to turn a super long tie. And you get something that matches the rest of your jumpsuit, which I actually think is pretty cute. Now I'd like to actually share a little tip for you all, especially those who may not sew a lot of garments. Whenever I sew a crotch curve, and it doesn't matter if it's leggings or regular pants, knit or woven, it doesn't matter what the fabric is, I always reinforce the crotch. And I do that by either first serging that seam or sewing it on my sewing machine, and then within the seam allowance, I sew another row of stitching. And that's to just really make sure that you've got some extra defenses against that seam blowing out. Because we've all been there. You don't want to bust a butt seam. It's not fun, trust me. This pattern is a definite winner. I'm super stoked with the fabric. It's really warm and great for the colder weather that we're having right now. And I really like twinning with my little boy. I mean, he's just, come on, he's just the cutest. To me, he's just the best little dude ever. And who wouldn't want to match him? Now let's talk a little bit about life. So currently in my living room, I have quite a bit of boxes, but those boxes are going to get loaded into my truck, and I'm going to head up north to meet up with the Maryland ambassador for Dress a Girl Around the World, Marissa. And so we're going to have lunch, we're going to chit chat, we're going to transfer all of these boxes from my truck to hers, and and I'll be sure to share all of that with you. It's going to be definitely a fun time. So with the dress turnover happening this weekend and the donation video coming out shortly. If you have been following all of the Project Dress a Girl 2022 videos, make sure that you subscribe and that you turn on notifications by clicking that bell so that way you know when the video does come out so you don't miss it. Now let's talk a bit about life. So you all, I am super excited because I'm going to be cutting my hair. The next time you see me, I might look a little different. I do like to change my hair quite frequently. It used to be blonde. Now it's kind of this greenish teal color. I am thinking about doing a shorter bob with bangs. I haven't had bangs in, I can't tell you the last time I had bangs. And I'm going to go a dark blue, I think. So the next time you see me, I'm going to look different. We'll have to see how different it is, right? The other thing that I'm really excited about is actually I'm excited to finish decorating my house for Halloween. I've got some spider web, but I'm gonna wait until we get closer to Halloween to actually put out. But I want to drape it across my porch entrance so that way people kind of have to like duck in to get some candy, which I think will be really fun. And I'll put some on I'll just stretch some out on my bushes as well. I'll be sure to share pictures of all of that over on Instagram. Halloween is probably my most favorite holiday ever. I mean, I just have the best time scaring the kids. Although, I have to admit, I don't know how many kids I'm going to end up scaring this year because we've got another Mario theme going. So last year, he was Toad, and I was Mario. No, I was Luigi, and my husband was Mario. This year, the kid actually wanted to be Yoshi. So we're sticking with the Mario trend. Grandma gets our costumes from last year so they can come as Mario and Luigi. And I'm going to be Princess Peach, and my husband's going to be Bowser. I didn't make any of our costumes this year. I just didn't have the time. And quite honestly, making costumes for just 1 year's use, it doesn't appeal to me. That's not the kind of sewing project that really appeals to me. So I do tend to purchase the majority of our costumes. For my kid last year, I did make his Toad costume. And I mean, that's fine. He does wear his costumes throughout the year. He wore his hat throughout the year. He was a real cute little thing. So I don't mind it so much for him, especially because he's so little and his projects don't take long. I am hosting a spooky dinner too. So let me show you my tablescape. This is where it stands right now. I still need to add my plates and all of that good stuff. And I am making some bat coasters for everyone to use. You all, I'm super stoked about this. I'm going to add a couple of voodoo dolls to this tablescape. Just kind of like round it out a bit. And then I'm going to make some leather coasters for all of my guests as a gift so they could use it and then they can take them home, that kind of thing. And I'm going to be making them, of course, out of leather. So I've got my little pattern here. I was originally thinking about making the leather placemats, but ultimately to fit my plates onto a bat-shaped placemat, it was just going to be way too big. And it with the tablescape, it didn't make much sense. So I'm definitely moving away from that idea, and we're going to do the coasters. And you'll be able to find the tutorial to make the bat coasters over on my other YouTube channel, Inspired Leather. And of course, you can find it down in the description box. So that's the Halloween direction the house is going, and you'll be able to catch a whole lot more pictures and videos about it over on Instagram as we get closer to Halloween. And of course, I'm going to get my fog machine going. If you enjoyed this video, the pattern review and learning tips and tricks, definitely check out this video right over here, which is my Falls Make video. It's everything that I plan on making this fall, and I'm off to a pretty good start. So definitely check out that video, and until next time, I hope that you find joy and have a wonderful day.